some of these around his ankles.
He probably does.
Yeah. Oh, well, he might like that too.
Like I said, I know a lot of people know your grandparents, Chris, and they know the stories from the the movies and all that other stuff. But tell us about yourself. Like what are you all about, and what's the foundation all about? Yeah, leave me out. You've been trying to leave me out of this whole show.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's been crazy. So yeah, everybody, just so you all know tonight, Dana is going to actually kind of run the show. Hello, everybody. It's a spontaneous chat. I didn't plan on doing a show tonight. I'm just going to be honest. The job that I've done the last couple weeks is kicked my ass. So I've been tired. Plus, I've been lining up a couple guests. I'm going to turn my light down a little bit. It's right in my face. Hey, Jerry, what's up? Just want to give you all an update on what we're doing the next couple days, the next couple weeks. Tomorrow we are going on the first ever Adam the Black Swamp Medium fan club with special guest Tobes investigation at the mill. So that's what we're doing tomorrow night. We will be going live. Tobes will be going live. It's going to be a fun time. It was basically we did a show and we put it out there. Who would want to go? And there was only 10 spots, so it filled up the night of the show. So we couldn't put it out there to invite anybody else, which sucks because I'd like to do it again sometime. So I only see Jerry's watching. Shit, Jerry, if I could just call you and make this easier. So that's what we're doing tomorrow night. Looking forward to it. The stuff is all packed and ready to be packed up into the car. It should be a good time. We got Shelly's going to go. Shelly Smothers. Kelly's going. Carmen's going. Jerry's going. Becky and Harold. Me and Dana's sister and brother-in-law. So, man, one viewer. This is exciting. I was going to reveal the winning lottery numbers too tonight. Now, a couple of things that I did want to talk about, though. Although, I don't know, maybe I'll hold that for a couple minutes. Let's see if people jump on. If not, me and Jerry can have that private conversation offline. It's had a cool, I thought was a great piece of paranormal evidence that I caught on multiple sources, and then in the end I debunked it. But yeah, I'm recording for posterity. So anyway, next week we're going to actually do our first ever. Actually, no, we did it before we went to a convention and did some on the go or remote lives. We went out to a paranormal convention and did some Facebook lives. But next week we're going to do a live show from where's the flyer? I always forget the name. But Lady Mystique is going to be on. She has like I don't want to say a psychic store, but I mean, that's the best way to describe it. There's crystals and candles and holistic stuff. And she's very knowledgeable on what to use for what situations. It's called the Enchanted Mystic Arts House of Intuition. It is in the old Secor building right across from, I think from Huntington Center. Or is it Fifth Third? No, it's Huntington Center. So I feel really stupid just talking to one person. Anyway, Lady Mystique is going to come on. Then the week after that, we're going to have a guy who was, he's a member of the Warren Legacy Foundation. And, but he was a guy that was actually, he's got a really cool story about how he got his start into the paranormal, but he was actually on Ed Lorraine Warren's team. So, he definitely has some deep roots and some knowledge to share. And, he doesn't like, and I'm not having him on as a guest because he was on their team, but like I watched him on a show one night and he's really, really interesting. So another maybe YouTube recommendation, look up the Demon House and not the Zach Baggins one. It is, so I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan. And one of the things that always intrigued me about Led Zeppelin was Jimmy Page and his guitar playing. But he bought Aleister Crowley's house, and it used to be a church, and like so many people died there. But this is where Aleister Crowley used to conjure up all of his stuff and really practice. He was practicing bringing out demons for whatever ritual. So that house has a history of owners killing themselves and all this other stuff. But this paranormal team goes into the house and does a Ouija board session. And I only watched half of it, so I got to watch the rest. But so anyway, after this guy does this, he has problems big time after he goes home. It's kind of like Fox Thomas did with his Ouija board project, but these guys did it in Aleister Crowley's old house. So I mean, that's God. I don't know if I'd have the guts to go to a place like that. I don't know what is wrong with my dog. Okay, I guess she's not sore. So I don't know. That's a question. So whoever's in here, answer this question. If you had a chance to go investigate at Aleister Crowley's old house, would you do it? I'd like to say that I'd jump at the chance, but I don't know. It's pretty. He didn't do anything love and light. Everything that man did was dark. So I don't know if I'd have the guts to go to that place. Why not? Because all he did like a bunch of, from what I understand, is like basically all he did was try and summon demons and do, projects with very, very black, dark magic and all that other stuff. But yes, I probably would go there, but I'd be apprehensive. I'd be pretty scared. I certainly wouldn't. This team that went, it's in this documentary. It's called The Demon House. It's on YouTube, but it's not, like I said, it's not the Zach Baggins one. But they actually did a Ouija board session there, which was. Hello.
Hi.
Dana wants to say hi. She's got a headache tonight. Plus, like I said, we didn't plan on doing a show, so I just jumped down here for spontaneous chat. She's got another issue going on. Yeah, Jerry, that's definitely a place I would not go alone. Like that is. I'll play around with a lot of stuff and take chances and things like that. But man, if you know a place has a history of known demonic activity, and the guy that was his goal when he was there, was to bring out demons. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. There's a cemetery at the bottom of the hill where I guess a bunch of witches are buried. What else? So it looks like Kelly and Jerry, you two are the only ones in here. We could just do a conference call. Kelly, everything he did was like, you'd have to look him up. I mean, he was a very odd guy. He was into drugs, but he was, everything he was, about summoning. Definitely go to the cemetery. Yeah, I'd definitely go to the cemetery, where the witches are. And it's a weird one. It's super old. Like, I think the headstones were like from the 16 and 1700s, and it's like a little gated thing, like stone wall, and that would creep you out alone, just the cemetery. But like I said, everything he did there was demonic. Jimmy Page actually sold the house and moved out. He didn't say why. He won't ever talk about what happened there. And I think that might actually be, and I could be totally wrong on this, I should have Googled this before I say this, but that might have been where John Bonham died. I think I heard that once before. But Jimmy Page, he was definitely into the occult and the dark stuff. And I think he kind of had he wasn't serious about it, I don't think, like Aleister Crowley was. But so that's the story of that. Yeah, all the rockers work. Well, I don't know about all of them. I think if you had a fascination for the dark stuff, you would be into them. There's a lot of. I see here again. I wish I come on here and I just ramble on, and I wish I would have done more research about what he was all about. But I know it was all about satanic and black mass, and, all that stuff. And it's supposedly too. Now that's probably a location that has a lot of legend surrounding it, but supposedly too the house was a church at one point, and somebody locked the doors and burned everybody, I think is what they said in the documentary. So there was a lot of death there. People that have bought it, turned it into a house, have killed themselves there. Um, so yeah, it's just something good to watch. I found it interesting. Like I said, the interesting part though is then after the guy gets home, and this could be he's a YouTuber. It could be all fake and it could all be bullshit. But I'd like to I guess give people the benefit of the doubt until I see something to just that they're not credible. So um, another thing I was going to talk about, and I'll talk about it real quick because I'm going to make a video about it. Is there's I learned a really really good lesson, and I'm glad that so we did an investigation last weekend, and it was at a private residence, but it was more of a ghost hunt than an actual investigation. I mean, they weren't like, you guys got to come here and help us, but we've been there a couple of times. Actually, I think Kelly, I think you've been there. If you have, don't say the name of the place, but it's that one out by Genoa. It's a house that was built in the 1800s. It was built as like a stagecoach stop, and it had a ballroom and a saloon and brothel and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we did an investigation there, and close to the last session, it was the session before the last one. All of the investigators that were in the house were up in one bedroom, and I was standing with my back to the hallway in the door of the bedroom. Kelly, I'm pretty sure you guys did. I think you went on a field trip. Um, Big house, 3 stories. I'm pretty sure I saw you in one of the field trip videos. But anyway, so I'm standing with my back to the hallway. And a lot of times, too, like if people are doing a session, I'll stand outside of the room that they're in just so I can hear the rest of what's going on, in the building. And I knew at that point the only person that would have possibly came in would have been the homeowner. Um, so, I knew it was locked down. Everybody was accounted for. So at one point they're doing their session in the bedroom, and I heard somebody walking, like not just one footstep or two, but like multiple ones. And you can see in a video that I'm going to make that like I actually turned around like this, stopped and listened, and then went over and said, "Is anybody in here?" Because I couldn't tell if it was the first floor or the third floor because we were on the second floor, but I just heard footsteps. So got home. I went over the. I think I went over the camera audio first, and I think I vaguely heard it. So I'm like, well, I had a microphone out in the hallway. Let's listen to that one, the one that was closest to me. Definitely heard it on that one, but still I couldn't tell if it was the third floor or the first floor. So I went to the first floor microphone, didn't hear anything on that. On both of those, I had 2 microphones down there. Went to the third floor microphone, and I heard it pretty loud. So I'm like, oh, cool, it's on the third floor. Well, then I had a microphone in the ballroom, and I had also heard it on a couple of the DVR cameras that were up there too. So I heard it on the ballroom mic. It was loud as could be. It's like, okay, that's where I heard the footsteps. Something was walking in the ballroom. So when I guess the lesson is when you really got to do your due diligence, because I would have swore it was downstairs, and I actually watched all the DVR cameras, everything. I had one more camera to review. So this is 7 different devices, I think, that have this on there. And if I played it for you right now, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's definitely footsteps. Somebody's walking through there. So I had the one last camera that didn't have a microphone on it, and I thought, I'm just going to watch this real quick at that timestamp. And so I'm watching. I'm stoked watching this. So ready for like a ghost to just walk in front of the camera because, I don't know. I was all geeked up at that point, ready to see something cool. And right at the moment where the footsteps, because everything's time stamped, the freaking stupid ass ventless heater comes on, and it clicks, and then it makes like these noises as it's trying to light that sound like footsteps. I was like, oh damn. But I guess the moral of the story is, and Kelly, I know you know this, Jerry, you know this too. I'm speaking to the choir here because there's only 3 of us, but like, I'm glad I checked that last camera, and I almost didn't because, like I said, there was no audio. I already had this on 7 different things. Like, I mean, what more do I need? Because I would have played that for a client all day long as look, we got somebody walking through your ballroom here, and but now I'm glad that I'm not showing anybody anything fake, and it took me a good hour and a half to go through all this stuff for the one moment. So, but anyway, another thing too that I did a little different on this investigation is one thing that I'm really glad I did is I've got a Zoom recorder. So it's a recorder and it has a microphone on it, and then you can input 4 other microphones. So it's got 6 channels and they all record independently. So they all have their own track. It's a track recorder. But if so I spoke into the microphone right when I hit record. I spoke the time, which I always say to do it, but I'm horrible at it. But I'm so glad I did, because once you timestamp it, it's so much easier to go find this. Otherwise, I would have had to go searching through all these tracks, been like, oh my God, what? So, once I found the time and what time it would be on the track, everything was easy. So, I also, too, when I set the cameras up, I set them up to capture doorways. So instead of going into a room and having a door here and your camera here pointing this way, I learned, because I've caught shadow figures before, that it's like, well, I can't say that's a shadow figure, because it could have been somebody walking behind the camera, So anyway, so I pointed the cameras at the doors. I pointed some down hallways, so I could get a clear view of, if we caught anything, I could account for everybody at all times. So that was one lesson learned. And yeah, Jerry was a great cameraman. Actually, for real, Jerry, you did pretty good. Yep, we try to capture doors and equipment such as REM pods. Yep, that's another thing we did. We had one up in the attic of this place. We had the REM pod right on camera. It's funny because the REM pod went off a couple times when me and Jerry were up there, but then never went off again all night. So I don't know. I still don't know if we caught anything. There's a lot of stuff to go over. Another reason why you want to have multiple sources out there is because Harold caught on one of his recorders. It sounds like an EVP. So you gotta, I listened to my microphone, watched the camera, and determined that they were doing an Estes session, and there was a younger guy that was there that he kind of whispered yes. So, but he had headphones on and a blindfold, so he was supposedly answering what he heard on the spirit box. So, so like I said, I think everybody's heard everything that I wanted to talk about. Like I said, it was just a spontaneous. What we're doing tomorrow night, we're going to go live a few times, and then next week we're going to be out and about for the live show. We're going to be out at the Enchanted Mystique Arts House of Intuitions, which we're going to have a pretty cool announcement about that place pretty soon. So thank both of you for joining, and we will see you both tomorrow night. I'm not going to prolong this. If nobody's going to watch, I'll just conference call you. So we will see you tomorrow.